Hey everyone, welcome back to Mrs. Enchanted Channel. Well, we are on part 10 of True Tales of Ghostly Encounters. We are definitely moving along, We're on page 77, so we still got a little bit more to go, probably at least 150 more pages, but we are making a dent in it. So let's get started. We are on Mom, Please. My daughter, Mildred Crow, died on June 11, 1963 at 1:50 a.m. I did not have the money to attend her funeral in Texas and remained at my home in Vienna, Ohio. At 10 p.m. on July 19th, a little more than a month after Mildred died, I was settling down to sleep when I felt something sit down on my bed. I turned to see if it was my sick husband wanting something, and I saw Mildred sitting there on the edge of my bed. She said, "Mom, go to the doctor." I told her, "Honey, I am all right. I don't need a doctor." Mildred left, but she came again the next night. She insisted that I see the doctor. Again, I told her that I didn't need the doctor. The third night, she reappeared saying, "Mom, please see Dr. Bill before it's too late." So, let's see. I promised my daughter that I would see our family doctor, whose name is Bill, in the morning. He sent me right to the hospital for emergency treatment for diabetes. He said that if I had delayed seeing him one more week, it would have been too late to do anything but make me comfortable until the end. I love my daughter and find she is closer to me now than she was before. Florence Org, Tice, Florida, September 1965. Wow. That's so cool to have someone, that's on the other side come to you and tell you, you need to see a doctor. And thank God she listened, because it could have been very differently. Sometimes that happens, they try to warn us about things and sometimes we don't listen and sometimes we do. So, always listen. All right, now we're on King's Oswald's Gray. On Christmas Eve, 1959, I drove along the old Roman road between Greenhead and Newcastle upon Tyne. The night was wet, but I was anxious to reach home and help the children decorate the Christmas tree, and so I pushed my car at a fast clip. Suddenly, my mother put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Steady, son, there is danger ahead." Puzzled and excited at seeing her again, for Sarah Ann Schofield, my mother, had been dead for some years. I turned to speak to her. She had disappeared. I shrugged off the incident as being a hallucination brought on by fatigue and continued on. I was still musing over the incident when my headlights illuminated a group of horses trotting across the road. I hit the brakes, but because of my speed, I was sure I couldn't avoid them. My auto slid toward them and right on through the last of the horses. When the car came to a stop, I climbed out and walked to the side of the road to see where the horses had gone. To my astonishment, there was no sign of them and no marks of brakes in the hedge that lined both sides of the roads. Getting back into the car, I glanced up the road to see a huge log stretch across it. It was a large piece of tree trunk, newly felled, about 4 feet long. With considerable difficulty, I rolled it onto the hedge. I Submisit had fallen off a logger's lorry. Yeah, sorry guys, had to spit that one out. Had I continued onto the log at the speed I was traveling, I never would have been home for Christmas. After the holidays, I told a friend, Professor D. Russell, a lecturer in psychology at Newcastle University, about my Christmas Eve experiences. When I described the place where I had seen the horses, he told me that King Oswald of Northumbria had fought a battle at the spot in AD 600. There is a cross by the roadside commemorating this event, but I had not known about it. A conversation cleared up a small mystery in connection with the horses. One horse, a gray, had a leather piece over its back. This was not like a modern saddle, but was just simple leather piece with loops for stirrups. The design and markings on it had been quite clear and distant, with the colors blue, red, and green. Professor Russell explained that the design and colored markings as I described them were a saddle worn more than 1,000 years ago when King Oswald was riding into battle. And that's from Jane Scarfield, as told to Mary Crow, Bristol, England, January 1967. Okay, now we are moving phone call from beyond. This should be interesting. For many years, my friend Davis Stone was sole caretaker of a large mansion and estate next door to me on Belmont Street in Indianapolis, Indiana. His daughter Ruby and I had been great pals before she died when she was only 7. In 1969, Davis fell from a ladder and as a result was nearly crippled. If he sat bent over or in an unusual position for a length of time, he would be unable to work for days or even weeks. Not long after his fall, Davis' employees went on vacation and Davis had complete responsibility for the estate. The job was really too much for one person, and I was continually on to watch to see that he did not cripple himself again. One evening, just before dusk, my telephone rang and I answered it. I heard a voice I recognized but could not place. It was the tiny voice of a child. She said, "They told me I could not telephone, but I just did, didn't I?" Puzzled, I said, "I know your voice, but who are you?" "You know me," she answered. "I am Ruby." "Thank you and goodbye," I said as I dropped the phone. Alarmed that something must be wrong with Davis, I heard the little voice say, "Thank you too." I dashed next door and tried to get in. There was no answer to my knock, but I found a door that was unlatched and I went from room to room to see what was the matter. On a big chair I found Davis, sound asleep in a position that would have crippled him. Suddenly I knew he could not be awakened quickly, so I just stood nearby and repeated his name. Finally he woke and he said, "Oh, my back. It's a good thing you came to see about me. But what is the reason?" Stunned for a moment at the immensity of the answer I must give, I finally said, "Your daughter Ruby called me on the telephone." Disbelief showed on his face. I couldn't blame him. The truth staggered me too when I realized what it meant. "My phone is still off the hook," I added. "I dropped it when I knew something was wrong over here." Ruby said thank you just as I dashed over. She was still on the line. Davis and I agreed this was very like Ruby. She always had been so careful to observe the pleasantries of life. I am careful to whom I tell this story, but the telephone call from beyond remains a rare treasure in my memory. Viola Tolan, Indianapolis, Indiana, July 1974. Wow. Calling from beyond. That would kind of freak me out too. All right, and now we're going to be reading probably the last one, Obeying His Command. My mother lived with me in the 1940s in the village of Pacheco, California. She often went to San Jose by bus to visit another daughter, and on these occasions we planned that I would pick her up at the Greyhound bus station in Concord, 2 miles away, when she returned. Her only delay was a 2-hour wait in Oakland to change buses. She made the trip often, always returning well and happy. One Saturday, that mother was due in Concord at 4 o'clock in the afternoon was a busy day for me. A school teacher, and about 1 o'clock I was ironing when I heard my father's voice. "Mabel, go get your mother." How could that be, I thought. I knew my father's voice instantly, although he had been dead for more than 5 years. "Stop dreaming and get on with your chores," I told myself. My father's voice came again, this time with great emphasis and unmistakable urgency. Mabel, go get your mother." Something was wrong somewhere, no doubt of that. I could not disobey his insistent command. I disconnected the iron and ran into the living room where a young visiting nephew was painting. "Lane," I said, "we have to go to Oakland and we have to hurry." It was only early afternoon. I knew right away I must go to Oakland. Mother's bus wouldn't reach Concord until 4. When we arrived at the bus station, the San Jose to Oakland bus was just pulling in. Mother, the first passenger off, wore a happy smile and looked around the station as if expecting someone to meet her. When she saw me through the glass door, her smile faded. As we embraced, she said in a disappointed tone, "A nice man was going to meet me, but he said if anyone else met me, he wouldn't show up." I had a hunch that my father's urgent command had forestalled real tragedy. Ushering Mother into the waiting room, I said, "Tell me all about this." "Well, I met him a few days ago. He said he would be married right away, then leave at once for Florida, where he had a beautiful estate." I interrupted. "Mother, did you tell him you owned some property?" "Yes," she admitted in some confusion. "We will wait a few minutes longer, then go home," I said. Her instant lover did not appear, so we picked up Lane at the newsstand and went home. We never referred to this incident again, but I often saw Mother looking out a window as if she expected someone to come. 3 months later, the newspapers carried an account of a man who enticed elderly women into marriage with promises of a beautiful estate in Florida. He had been jailed for murder for poisoning those would-be wives on the way south. The man's picture appeared in the paper, and I showed it to Mother, asking, "Mother, is this the man?" Shocked into tears, she answered, "Yes." Irene Mabel McDonald, Paradise, California, October 1984. Wow, that's freaky. It's a good thing that her daughter came and picked her up when she did. And, you never know who you're going to get in touch with. So, just be careful out there, guys. All right. I hope you guys enjoy this. If so, please give it a thumbs up. And we are going to be moving on to, let's see, pretty soon we'll probably be moving on to, what is it? Actually, not for a while. So it'll probably be a little bit before we move on to another chapter. But if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you guys want anything else on my channel besides paranormal, ghost stories, tarot, oracle cards and all that, just let me know. Because like I said, I like to mix it up a little bit. So, all right, guys. Stay safe, have fun, and as always, thank you for watching. And I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Bye. Mwah. See you later.